Does anyone know what the evidence is to believe that Islam is true? Seriously, I don't know anymore. It seems like Muslims are running out of arguments. They used to argue that there are scientific miracles in the Quran, but Ali Dawah pointed out that that argument has been debunked.
The scientific miracles argument in the Quran got debunked.
Hamza Zortzitz has also written an article demonstrating that arguing there are scientific miracles in the Quran is fallacious in multiple ways. Muslims also used to argue that the Quran has been perfectly preserved for 1400 years, which Yasser Qadi has destroyed.
The issue of ahruf and preservation and qira'at and relationships between them, these are very, very difficult issues. And the most advanced of our scholars, they're not quite fully certain how to solve all of the unanswered questions in there. And it's very clear to you and to every single very advanced student and specialist that the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say. The standard narrative does not answer some very pressing questions.
If I were to give you a blank mushaf, and tell you to write what is munazzal verbatim from Allah into that mushaf with no human interference, would you write something which corresponds?
It's not an easy answer. It's not an easy yes or no.
Anyone can just go to erquran.org and see all the variants between different versions of the Quran. And the differences are not just in recitation. There are clear variants between different manuscripts of the Quran. Therefore, the Quran has not been perfectly preserved. Now, some Muslims have another argument they like to try, which is that there are numerical miracles in the Quran which somehow prove that Islam is the one true religion.
I can prove to you that Islam is the one true religion in 45 seconds.
All right, we got 45 seconds on the clock and go.
Point number one, the Quran says the word man and woman 23 times, and we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. The Quran also says the word land 13 times, the word sea 32 times, and the makeup of our earth is 71% sea and 29% land. That is crazy. Number three, it also says the word day 365 times, which is the exact calendar we use right now. And number four, it says the word month 12 times, which is the exact same calendar that we use right now. Number five, it mentions that the heavens and earths are constantly expanding. In the last 100 years, we just now found out that the universe is ever expanding. Number six, the Quran is 1400 years old. None of these things were around 1400 years ago.
All right, time's up, so you need to do a better job of keeping track of your time, but finish your point.
It was written, transcribed by an illiterate man who could not read or write. How would have he been able to know any of that unless it was divine? That brings me to point number seven. Look at everything objectively. Objectively, if you look at what I just mentioned, how can you deny that Islam isn't the truth?
Oh, well, that's simple. You're lying. But before we get to those supposed numerical miracles, let's get to this ridiculous claim.
Number five, it mentions that the heavens and earths are constantly expanding. In the last 100 years, we just now found out that the universe is ever expanding.
So this would obviously be an error because the earth is not expanding. But I don't even think the Quran says that. What I think you're referring to is in Surah 51, which refers to the heavens being expanded out and the earth being spread out. Which wouldn't make sense if you're describing a globe, but would make sense if you're describing a flat disk. And ancient people used to think that the earth was a flat disk. So if you want to interpret the Quran scientifically, this would most likely be an error, not a scientific miracle. As for the heavens being expanded out, there are verses like this in the Bible, so this was a common belief long before Muhammad. But let's get to these supposed numerical miracles in the Quran. Apparently the Quran mentions the word day 365 times, therefore it's a miracle. Well, I don't really need to debunk this because Muslims have already debunked this for me. This article on Islam Q&A says that by examining the statistics presented by those who have published these numbers, we find that they did not get the numbers of some phrases right, and some of them have been selective in the way they counted the words, and that is so that they might reach the conclusion they want and that they think is in the Book of Allah. The article goes on to point out that if you want to get the word day 365 times in the Quran, you have to be very selective in the Arabic words you pick to count. And I also want to ask, which Quran contains the numerical miracles? As I've pointed out, there are different Qurans, like the Warsh, the Kalun, the Hafs, are the numerical miracles in the Sana manuscript, which shows a lot of variation with the Quran most Muslims read today. But just to look more deeply into this, I had a friend of mine use an AI model to run a Python script. It went through the Hafs Quran and listed every word in there and how many times it's used. Let's take the Arabic words for woman. We didn't find 23 instances. We actually only found 7. Now for words that mean female, we did find 23 instances. But words for male, we found an abundance more, same as with Arabic words that mean man. Arabic words for sea, we actually found 33 instances. If we include plural, we get 35. And for words that mean land, we found well over 100. We also found well over 365 instances of Arabic words that mean day, and well over 12 instances of Arabic words that mean month. And of course, if the Quran was secretly trying to tell us that there are 365 days in a year, why doesn't it use that calendar? Instead, it uses a lunar calendar with fewer days. Now, I also want to point out I found articles that also debunked the alleged numerical miracles in the Quran, but they got different results than what we got in our Python script. And when we go to corpus.quran.com, we also find different totals there. And this site is probably going to be more accurate given that the AI model we used may not have translated everything properly. But either way, it's clear there are no numerical miracles in the Quran. And I think this all points to how selective and subjective this argument is. You select the words you want and then pretend it's a numerical miracle. The whole argument is based on cherry picking, not on objective facts. So that brings us back to asking, what is the actual evidence that Islam is the true religion? What is the actual evidence that Muhammad really did receive revelations from God? The scientific miracles in the Quran? Debunked. The perfect preservation of the Quran? Debunked. Numerical miracles in the Quran? Debunked. Muhammad prophesied in the Bible? Laughably false. Meanwhile, in Christianity, we don't have this problem. We have a strong cumulative case that argues for the truth of Christianity, which includes the reliability of the Old Testament, the reliability of the Gospels and the New Testament, and of course the most important argument, the resurrection argument, where we can argue the best explanation of the data from the first century is that Jesus really did rise from the dead. So Muslims, why remain in Islam when there's no evidence to support its truth and there are clear errors in the Quran, like the verses we use for the Islamic dilemma, where the Quran confirms the prior scriptures and tells Christians to judge by the gospel. But if we do that, we must conclude the Quran is false, because the Quran clearly contradicts our scriptures. So given insurmountable problems like the Islamic dilemma, and the clear lack of evidence to support the truth of Islam, why remain Muslim? In Christianity, we have a ton of evidence to support our truth claims, and I invite all Muslims to study what we've presented. There are plenty of resources on my channel. We invite you to Christianity, a religion based on truth and facts. You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind the scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.